All right, today we have a 2015 Toyota Yaris. Paint code is 1G3. I had a repair on the fender, new door, repair on rear door and quarter, 2 new aftermarket bumpers. Yes, I know, aftermarket bumpers. All right, well, I have the sealer laid down. We're gonna let the sealer flash, tack the rest of the areas, and apply our base coat blender. Once that is set up, then we will start putting on our base coat. Make sure 1G3 is a tricky color. There's a lot of different variations of that color: lighter, darker, redder, bluer, greener. So make sure you're putting the right color on it. All right, we will be right back. All right, our base coat blender has been applied. Now I just want to talk about sealer just a little bit. Typically sealers come in 5 different colors: white, light gray, gray, medium gray, and dark gray. And you know, it's basically you know, for color coverage. So if you have a lighter colored car, you're going to use a lighter colored sealer. Darker car, darker sealer. Makes sense. And the reason being is because anybody knows and everybody knows that paint products are extremely expensive. So one of your main goals as a painter is to try and use as little product as possible. That way you're not costing the shop that you work for a ton of money. So we don't want to do that. You know, sealer, like I said, it's good mainly for coverage. And the second thing it's really good for is, you know, repairing any fine scratches. You know, if you got body work and you're blocking that body work, it kind of leaves some crosshatch sand scratches even after you DA it. The sealer is great for fixing that, filling those problems. And that'll be it. So I'm about to lay some base coat down. Hopefully, you know, as time goes on, these videos will get better. I want to pick up some equipment and some tripods. That way you can kind of get a 360 view of what you're doing. Now, I'm really making these videos to help the up-and-comer, the DIY guy. You know, you want to make money and you don't mind working hard. Painting cars is a great way to make money. If you don't want to work at McDonald's making minimum wage and you want to make a real living, this is a great way to do it. All right, and welcome back. I have the first coat of base on. You know, what I prefer is when I apply my base coat, I put it on fairly heavy. The heavier you put it on, the better it lays out. Therefore, the smoother your clear is going to be. So that's what I like to do. Also, if you know, regardless of temperature, if it's cold outside, you know, whatever it may be, I always like to use a high temperature reducer. Even if it takes a little bit longer for that base coat to flash or dry, it dries a lot smoother. It doesn't leave any dry, rough patches. So that's what, you know, I would recommend doing. I got one coat. You see how nice and smooth that base coat is and shiny? There's nothing wrong with that at all. That's kind of what you want. It will make your clear coat, I mean, just super slick. And that's what you know, as a painter, that's what you want. You know, you don't want any orange peely duty work. So that's exactly what you want. Also have to paint a handle. Forgot about the handle. Now, if you guys have any questions at all, man, just drop a comment, and I will do my absolute best to answer any questions you have. All right, now on to coat number 2. Okay, and coat number 2 has been applied. I typically 3 medium, you know, I said heavy, but I would say 3 medium wet coats. You want to make sure it's nice and wet. Make sure it flashes really well, and tack in between coats. Tack rag is a huge deal. I've seen a lot of painters that do not use a tack rag, and they have tons of dirt, lint, hair in their paint, and that's not what you want, okay? So I typically do 3 medium wet coats, and then I will do what you call either a control coat or a drop coat, which is you just kind of pull your base coat gun back a little bit and kind of drop that last coat of base on top. That way, if there's any modeling or little a little metallic buildup in spots, you know, you can bury it with that. That's how you cover it up. But you see how nice and smooth that base coat is. And it's almost, I mean, it's almost shiny. You can see a reflection. That is exactly what you want. Now, it will make your jobs consistent, smooth, clean, shiny every single time. And then when it comes to, when we go through the clear coat, you know the rule of thumb. They always say, on your clear, 50-50 overlap. Well, in 30 years I have been painting, I do not recommend 50-50 overlap. I recommend a 60-40. Because a lot of times you do your 50-50, you think you're doing 50-50, and after you're done, you might have a spot that's got a little orange peel, or you might have a little dry spot. Again, you don't want it. Keep those passes nice and tight. You'll be more consistent. The job will be a whole lot better. All right, so I'm going to apply my third coat. Then after the third coat, we will do the drop coat. I will try to do a demo while holding the camera with the drop coat. That way you can kind of get an idea. But here we go. Let's keep it going. All right, third coat has been applied. Now, when I say 3 medium to wet coats, I should be more specific. On darker colors, darker colors, they cover a lot better than, say, silver. So if you have a silver, and well, I'm currently spraying solvent right now. I'm not spraying water-based solvent. If you have silver, sometimes, you're upwards to 5-6 coats just to ensure that you're getting the proper coverage. Because nobody wants the embarrassment of painting a car, getting it cleared, make it look beautiful, and you pull it outside in the sun and you can see the sealer. I gotta say, I've been doing this a long time. In my earlier days, I have done that more than once. There's not much more embarrassing than doing that, so you want to avoid that at all costs. All right, I'm going to try and give a demo of drop coat. It's kind of weird with one hand. I usually like to hold the hose in the other hand. But what you want to do is, typically when you're putting base coat on, you want to be, me anyway, I'm 6-8 inches away from the panel. When you're doing your drop coat, you want to be typically 10 to 12 inches away from your panel. You want to keep your gun back and just kind of let the paint, just let it drop on the panel. That's what you want to do. It'll ensure that all your metallics and all your pearl is nice and even. You won't have any splotches. You don't want that either. It's really hard to do with one hand, but I think you guys get the idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish my drop control coat, and then we will get ready for clear. Be right back. All right, well, we are finally ready for clear. Not exactly ready for clear. You have to be certain, especially certain, that the base coat is 100% cured before you apply your first coat of clear coat. It is vital. Anybody here that's, they spray cars before, and you'll paint one, you'll clear it, and it looks fantastic. And by the end of the day or the next day, it kind of looks seedy, it died back. You're like, what the heck happened? It was beautiful, and now it's not beautiful anymore. 90% of the time, it is because you're putting your clear coat on before the base coat is cured. If that base coat is still not cured when you put that clear on, it will absorb that clear coat and make it it just kills the shine. It takes the shine away from it. It's another thing that you just do not want to happen to yourself. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you give it ample time. Usually after my last coat, because I wait in between coats, that way you're not doing wet over wet. I'll wait approximately 5 to 7 minutes, let it set up, go over with my tack rag nice lightly, do not bear down, very light. Make sure you pick, that way if there's any any particles at all on that car, you're picking them up with your tack rag. Okay. Apply your first coat of clear. Now, another thing people do is they'll put their first coat of clear on and then almost immediately go back over it with another coat. Now, you know, it's not that it's wrong to do it that way, but if you put your first coat on and you wait a few minutes and you come back into the spray booth and you'll see where that clear's kind of hazy, that means that that first coat was kind of absorbed a little bit by that base coat. So if you let it absorb it a little bit, then you put your second coat on, the job's going to come out beautiful, shiny, and 3 days later it's still going to look exactly the same way. It's not going to dye back on you. It's not going to look seedy, because there's for one, there's nothing worse than buffing. And not only buffing, when you have to buff the entire job that you did, that's no fun. You know, you don't want to do that. You want to avoid that at all costs. So just take your time. Don't rush. You know, wait in between those coats. Make sure that base coat is dry before you put that first coat on. All right, well, I'm about to apply my first coat of clear, and then we'll be right back. All right, first coat of clear is on successfully. Now we will let it flash off for a few minutes. You know, for one, you want to make sure it's, you know, that the base coat absorbs it as much as possible before you apply the second coat. And also, you want to make sure it's set up, because if you try and put a second coat on too soon, then you'll have problems with runs, and you don't want runs. Nobody wants to put their signature in their paint job. Definitely do not want that. So as you see, very smooth, very slick, very clean. Very clean. I'm the no buff painter. I rarely have to buff anything at all. So we'll let this set up a couple more minutes, put our final coat on, and that will be that.